I have the first overall selection in my draft for the first time ever next week.
Yep.
And I'm taking Antonio Brown, and I'm not stuttering or wavering. Am I correct in doing that?
Yes and yes.
Okay. It's not a PPR league either, Matthew.
I don't care.
Okay, neither do I.
Last 3 years, no non-quarterback has scored more fantasy points than Antonio Brown, and it's not even close. We talk about wanting to go safe in the first round, not wanting to get a little bit risky. I think Antonio Brown is as close to money in the bank as you get in fantasy football.
Well, what about the fact that Bryant's not there, and the fact that Le'Veon Bell's not there for 3 games, and the fact that Heath Miller, the BFF, the security blanket of Big Ben, is not there, and that's my only hiccup right here, and just not stuttering or wavering with Antonio Brown, Matthew.
So we looked at this, and again, it's a little bit of loosey-goosey math and small sample size, but there have been 9 games over the last 2 years in which Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger have played together where Martavis Bryant has not been in the lineup, okay? We looked at those numbers. Then we extrapolated them over a 16-game season. If you took the numbers when Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger played together with no Martavis Bryant over the last 2 years and extrapolate those numbers over a 16-game season, it would be the second-best fantasy season since 2001 by a wide receiver. Only Randy Moss in 2007 would be better.
So you've done this every which way to Sunday at this point in time.
I mean,
love it.
Look, anything's possible, and if you want to knock Antonio Brown, you could sit here and say like his numbers certainly dropped when Ben Roethlisberger was out last year. He looked better with Landry Jones than he did with Michael Vick, obviously, but there's no question about it. He has a special connection with Ben. Ben is somebody that has been banged up in his career, so there's a little bit of nervousness there, I guess, if you want to pick holes, but you're really stretching to try to find a flaw in Antonio Brown's game.
And then I smoke him if I got him all the way to 20th and 21st overall. I'm looking at your top 200. You've got Brandon Cooks at 20, and then Jamal Charles at 21. If Jamal Charles is sitting out there coming off that injury, do I really pull the trigger on him as my RB1? Do I really do that, Matthew?
But you're looking at the end of the second round or the top of the first. I mean, Jamal Charles has been a top 7 fantasy running back every single season that he's played. In 5 of the last 7 seasons, he's been a top 7 fantasy running back. The 2 seasons he wasn't was last year and the other year where he got hurt. So that's always a concern. But seems to be back to full strength. Seems to be back to, being Jamal Charles, if you will. So it's your team, Rich. But if you're asking me what I would do,
yes.
I don't do those rankings just randomly.
Oh.
I believe Jamal Charles will have a very nice year.
I don't mean to insult you with the question, Matthew. I don't mean to insult you with the question there.
You could never insult me, my friend. I'm merely saying that yes, I'm a Jamal Charles believer this year.
Okay.
I think he's, especially at that value, top of the third, into the second, he's going to get the majority of the work for Andy Reid. He's a kind of guy that doesn't need 25 touches a game to be an elite RB1 in fantasy. He's a guy that has proven he can do it on 15 touches, 17 touches a game. I would back him up with Spencer Ware, but yeah, I like Jamal Charles.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.